10 minutes later, Devlin was settling on his horse staring down at Chastity, who was petting the black horse and whispering in its ear. Welcome back, my friends. I truly appreciate it. I enjoy bringing you interesting storylines that are realistic and entertaining. Super thanks for those of you that are new. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe. Are you going to stand there whispering to that horse all day, or are you going to put your money where your mouth is? Devlin asked as his horse stomped the ground anxiously. Chastity quickly and expertly mounted the horse and rode up to where he was waiting, tossed back her braid, and smiled at him. Keep your shirt on. I was just getting acquainted with him, but I'm ready now. Devlin urged his horse on, and she followed him until the trail opened up enough for them to ride side by side. He looked at her and nodded, and then broke away at a gallop. Hey, no fair, she shouted. She kicked gently, and her horse broke into a gallop. The race was on, and Chaz was determined to win. She leaned forward in her saddle and grabbed the horse's mane and whispered some more to it. The horse responded with a snort and increased its speed. Inch by inch, they made progress until they were just a little bit ahead, and then she let the horse have full rein, and then it happened. Chaz laughed out loud. She won. Devlin finally found a spot where they could stop, and he signaled to her. They guided and tied their horses to a tree and sat down on a fallen log to catch their breaths. I guess I deserved that, he said. Yeah, you did. I'd forgotten how much fun it was to be on a horse again. I haven't been riding in years. You were great, Devlin said. They heard the approach of another rider, and they stood up. Chastity was brushing leaves from her pants when Nicole rode up. She quickly dismounted with a concerned expression on her face. Miss Michaels, are you all right? Did the horse throw you? She asked. Chaz saw through her fake concern. No, he didn't throw me. We were just resting for the ride back. Thank you for your concern, though, she said for Devlin's benefit. Oh, good. Nicole even managed to look relieved. Devlin clasped hands with Chaz in his. She won, and now I owe her lunch. If you join us, we could finish up our business so I won't have to come this way again, he said. Chaz looked up at him and wanted to strangle him, but managed a pleasant smile. The more the merrier, she said. Nicole was no slouch. She understood that her presence wasn't wanted and accepted eagerly. Great. Just let me get the documents, and then I'll join you out front. Honey, you don't mind, do you? It's a chance to get this over with, Devlin said. What business do you have with her? Devlin mounted his horse and waited for her to do the same. She has a cousin who is a brilliant artist. He's in high demand for his designs. Nicole has been the go-between for me and him. If she could get him to sign my contract, I'll have gotten the hottest designer for my business. He designs cloth, she asked, not completely understanding. No, his designs will be on the cloth I manufacture. I have a new line of silk coming out, and his designs will cinch it for me. You don't mind, do you, darling? Chaz shook her head. It may be business for you, but I can clearly see Nicole using it to come between us, she thought. She rode beside him in deep thought. Should she be jealous, or should she be the understanding girlfriend and let the man conclude his business? She also understood the business side of the meeting, but she couldn't help feeling that Nicole was using it for something totally different. They met out front, and then they spent another 10 minutes deciding on which restaurant to eat at. Finally, they decided, and Nicole got into her car to follow them. Chaz couldn't help the queasy feeling in her stomach. She just knew that things were going to be uncomfortable for her. The restaurant was quaint and even deeper in the sticks. The host greeted Nicole by name, confirming that it was her turf. She even had a usual table. She maneuvered herself so that she was sitting closest to Devlin, a fact that he didn't notice. Chaz was silent as he ordered for them, and Nikki, as he all of the sudden began calling her, smirked. All throughout the luncheon, Devlin and Nikki discussed business and old times. She deliberately steered conversation toward things only they would know. About an hour into this unpleasantness, Chastity had had enough and wanted to leave. She couldn't leave as Devlin drove them, so she just sat there getting angrier and angrier. She excused herself and went to the ladies, and when she got back, they were still at it. Nicole's laugh grated on her nerves, and enough was enough. She touched Devlin's arm to get his attention to ask how much longer before they left. Oh, honey, I'm sorry. Nikki called her cousin, and he's coming to meet us. I don't dare leave now. Can you hang on just a bit longer? He asked. No problem. Chaz agreed. The hostess escorted a young man to their table. Nikki's face lit up and she stood to make room for him, further removing Chastity from Devlin's side. Dev, this is my cousin Ricardo Lewis, the hottest and most wanted designer today, Nicole announced proudly. Devlin stood up and took his hand. It is a pleasure to meet you at last, Mr. Lewis. Then he turned and pointed to Chaz. This is Chastity Michaels, owner and founder of the Michaels Health Club. Ricardo was in his mid-30s and when he smiled at Chaz, felt sickened. The family resemblance was uncanny. He was slimy, she thought. He'd brought a small portfolio, which he laid on the table. He kept a protective hand on it as if he was afraid it would get stolen or something. After he ate his fill, he finally opened the portfolio, and Devlin positively drooled. Chaz supposed that if the drawings were transposed onto silk, that it would look nice. Oh, Ricardo, you're a genius. With these designs, I'll definitely hold my own at the next show, Devlin said in a rush. Ricardo doesn't come cheap, Devlin. He's got a lot of other mills bidding for his designs. In Paris, they were tripping over each other to sign him. Ricardo wanted to make a name for himself in the States before he branched out in Europe, Nikki said with obvious pride. Chaz watched and listened to the exchange. Excuse me, may I ask a question? If Ricardo was such a hit in Paris, why is he still trying to make a name for himself? It's obvious you don't know anything about the fashion industry, Ricardo interjected. You see Ms. Michaels in Paris. I was an apprentice to a world-famous designer. You've heard of Ferrantini? He was hot stuff until recently. Now that he is no longer at the top, I needed to remove myself from his misfortune so I can build my reputation easily. These are designs that were picked up while I worked under Ferrantini. He spoke to Chaz as if she were a child. Chaz nodded at him. Okay, so what you're saying is that you need exposure and showrooms to peddle your talent. You have the designs and Devlin has the goods. Is that it? She showed them that she had a firm grip on their little tête-à-trois. All three looked at her as if she were out of her mind. Okay, what is it that I'm not getting? Ricardo, you just said that you were snubbed while you apprenticed with Ferrantini, and now you're a free agent. If Devlin uses your designs, you'll have gotten the exposure you need, correct? Chaz asked. Well, yes, but the way you just described it makes it sound so brash. The fashion industry is very cutthroat, but the public sees only the elegance, Ricardo explained. Nikki nodded her agreement, and Devlin just watched. Chaz sat back and shrugged. What she saw in front of her was Nikki trying to peddle her cousin, and he was looking for someone to buy his designs, and Devlin was willing to buy. She couldn't fathom why they were making such a big deal out of it. 20 minutes later, Chastity wanted to pull her hair out. They were skirting around the issue and she wanted to scream at them. How hard was it to come to an agreement? Ricardo, if that was his real name, had designs Devlin clearly wanted. Nikki really had no place in the discussion other than the fact she was related to Ricardo. She only facilitated the meeting. Finally, they seemed to come to some sort of agreement and settled down to a final cup of coffee before they parted ways. On the drive back, Chaz was moody, but Devlin was happy to the point of bursting. He had acquired a great designer and was full of plans for a show. It should take about 6 months for all the arrangements to come together. This year, I will make a statement in the fashion world. Honey, this is going to be so exciting. I didn't give my invitation much thought until I spoke with Nikki, but now I have a real chance. With Ricardo's designs, my silk will really stand out, he stated. Darling, I know how much this means to you, but if I have to listen to one more outburst about silk or sketches, I will absolutely scream, Chaz said through clenched lips. I'm sorry, honey, I am excited and thought you'd be too. I'd like to share this with you. I'd like you to come with me to Paris, he said earnestly. I'm sorry I seemed indifferent. It's just that I couldn't understand why it took so long to come to an agreement. If I had my way, I would have had him sign on the dotted line hours ago, but Nikki is holding all the cards. He listens to her, and with the court thing, the family is not too thrilled with me. She has to convince him that I won't take advantage of him. Devlin, this is a standard business contract between you and Ricardo, isn't it? If that is so, you need only to please Ricardo and yourself. Nikki, has you thinking that your past with her has a bearing on it? Business should be just business. You might not want to hear this, but I think she is trying to manipulate you. I understand, but this is such a fickle business, and I think if I play it by ear for now with Ricardo, I get what I want. Nikki may think she's got the upper hand, but she doesn't. It's easier to let her think she's in control. Fine. If you want me to go to Paris with you, I'll go to cheer you on and be supportive. Great, he answered. The rest of the weekend was a bust. By mutual consent, they agreed to spend it apart. Devlin went back to his house but called later to let her know that he decided to sign Ricardo. He also said that he would be out of town for a bit. He was going to Paris to poke around a bit. Chaz thought it was a good idea. If it was up to her, she'd get some background information on Ricardo too. Chastity went back to work on Monday. She got a warm reception, and Debbie gave her all of 10 minutes before she pounced. Okay, Chaz, you promised you'd tell me everything, so before I bog you down with paperwork, I want the scoop. How is Mr. Wonderful? I'm surprised you waited this long. He's fun to be with, he makes me laugh, and he's everything I want in a man, Chaz replied, counting on her fingers. That's it? I want the good stuff, she whined. Oh, you mean the good stuff? Well, he is a great kisser, and I feel cherished when I'm with him. Come on, Chaz, must I spell it out for you? How is he in bed? What makes you think we've been to bed? Chaz asked seriously. Chaz, you couldn't hide it if you tried. It's written all over your face, and besides, there's a wicked-looking hickey on your neck, she teased. Really? Chaz asked and pulled out a compact mirror from her handbag to check her neck. Debbie laughed out loud. Got you? There's nothing on your neck. So, how is he? God, I can't stand you sometimes. How is he? Seriously, I have never in my life experienced anything like it. It scares me and excites me and I don't know. That good, huh? Yeah, Chaz breathed. Word of advice? Hang on to him. He's your soulmate. The rest of the day was full of catch-up. Debbie saved every bit of junk mail and invoice for her. Just when she thought she was through with one batch, Debbie would come with another stack. She welcomed it, however, it kept her from thinking about Devlin. She thought he'd call, even just to say hello, but he hadn't. Maybe he'll call later when he'd had a chance to relax. By the end of the day, Chaz left the club eager to get home to wait for Devlin's call. She showered quickly and downed a sandwich for dinner. When her phone rang finally, she answered quickly. Hello? Hello, love. Did you just get home? No, I've been home for a while. How was your trip? She asked. Her heart was pounding just listening to his voice. It was okay. I miss you so much, honey. I think I'll cut things short here and come home, he admitted. I miss you too, but you really should finish what you're doing. That way when you get back, you won't have any nagging questions about whether you forgot anything, because once you get back, I want your undivided attention. I hate to admit it, but you're right. I've been running around all day asking questions about Ricardo, and from what I've heard, he's as good as he says. Ferrantini himself had nothing but good things to say about him, but for some reason I feel that there is something I'm not being told. I'll give it a day or so, and then I'm coming home. God, I've never missed anyone like I'm missing you. It's agony not being able to reach out and touch you. I've got to go now, babe. I love you. I love you too, and I know you'll figure it out. Chaz fell asleep, hugging her pillow. She realized that she missed him as much as he missed her. Horrible was the tone for the day. 3 hours into the morning schedule, one of her patrons got hurt and was rushed to the hospital. An hour later, she was notified that he would be fine. His injury was minor, and the representative who accompanied him informed Chaz that they needn't worry about a lawsuit. Debbie reminded her that the building inspector was due and the pool had to be drained because another patron lost her engagement ring in it. By the afternoon, Chad hid in her office. She sat in the dark and hoped nothing else went wrong. All she wanted was the day to end. She went home seriously thinking about her career choices. When her phone rang later, she was afraid to answer it, thinking it might be her evening manager with yet another problem. Hello, she answered. Her voice came out with a croak. Chastity? Honey, are you sick? Devlin asked anxiously. Oh no, I had a bad day. How are things going? Devlin chuckled. I pounded the pavement a little more today, and I found out the big secret regarding Ricardo. Apparently, my soon-to-be designer par excellence is a Don Juan. He's been having affairs with the wives of some of Ferrantini's clients. Can you believe it? You've got to be kidding me. Ricardo? Yeah, and it gets better. The reason he's in the States is because they threatened to ruin him if he didn't leave Paris. Do you trust him not to get up to his old tricks? I can assure you that he'll get nowhere with me. But you've got female clients to worry about. I'll keep an eye on him. I made a few contacts here, and I'm in the process of negotiating a few contracts that would expand the export end of my business. I'd say I should be naked in your bed by Friday night, Devlin said. Chaz made a noise in her throat. Naked, you say? Do you think you could sneak a little food in between being, naked? Fine, I'll bring dinner, so, to recap, when you come home, I'll be at your doorstep with flowers and dinner, after which we'll go get naked in your bed. Um, Sounds wonderful. I miss you so much, Dev. I can't wait. It's only 3 days away. Maybe we could go away for the weekend, he suggested. That would be nice. We can make the plans together when you get back. Great. As much as I would love to talk with you some more, I have to go. I love you, Chaz. Sleep well, my love, Chaz replied and hung up. The next few days were not unpleasant for Chastity. The client that got hurt as well, and the inspection went smoothly. The club didn't get a single violation. She took her staff out to celebrate and left early. Devlin was flying home later. True to his word, he was sitting in his car when she pulled up. He had dinner and flowers as promised. They managed to carry everything in without dropping anything. The flowers suffered a little when their embrace crushed them. They survived. As most lovers do, Devlin and Chaz hurried through dinner to get to what was uppermost in their minds. When they finally came together, Chaz was surprised and pleased that he took the time to cuddle and bring her up to date on his trip. He asked about the club and listened to her recount the mishaps at the club. That talked more while their hands explored and reacquainted themselves, caressing and arousing. Chastity came to a point where coherent thought and speech was impossible. She stilled his hand and let out a slow breath. If you are trying to prove to me that you can hold out longer than me, you win. Let's make love now, or I will lose my mind. It was hours before they could let each other go. Again and again, they turned to each other during the night. When sleep came finally, it was on a cushion of ecstasy. Devlin teased her mercilessly the next morning because she missed her run. When she couldn't take the ribbing for much longer, she got up to make coffee. While it brewed, she jumped in the shower, adamantly refusing him to join her. As much as she would love to engage in sexual water games, she wanted to do other things with him. They only had the weekend. After breakfast, Devlin asked what she wanted to do. She said that after giving him a tour of her fitness club, she was curious about seeing his plant. Devlin was pleased and said he wanted to show her everything. They agreed to use his Jeep Cherokee for the trip into the city. Chaz sat back to enjoy the ride. Finally, he parked in front of the building. The property was impressive, being a city block long. Chaz stayed close to him once inside the big building. The hustle and bustle of people doing their jobs was everywhere. He showed her where all the materials of bulk materials used to make bolts of cotton, linen, and wool were kept. He explained that his was a three-part operation. The first was designing, where a print such as a floral or color in a specific pattern were developed. Next came the weaving of the material. The end product was a bolt of cloth with a design on it. He also explained that he was branching out with silk. He needed a well-known designer to produce beautiful designs on it, which was why he needed Ricardo. It took several hours for them to go through the plant. They ended up in his office where Chaz sat down dumbfounded. Dev, how in the world do you keep track of everything? I mean, I know that you have people working for you, but this, she gestured to their surroundings, this would drive me crazy. Devlin laughed. This is what I do for a living. I know every inch of this place and what every machine does. I've worked here and other places like this all my life. I became a partner with my employer, who eventually sold it to me 5 years ago. Before he passed, he told me that what I'd done with the plant was a dream of his. He wanted to branch out into the fashion world too. I'm doing it. He looked around with pride. So, what you're saying is that you are going to be as well known as those European clothing makers. Will I have first choice at whatever you make before it becomes public? That depends, he answered with a gleam in his eyes. On what? I could only see you in clothing that are easy to put on and even easier to take off, he deadpanned. Oh, great. I finally meet a great name in the fashion industry, and he'll only allow me clothes he can take off me, Chaz said with mock concern. Darling, that's what all men think when they see a beautiful woman in a fabulous dress or gown. We may appreciate how a woman looks in it, but the burning question on all our minds is how fast can I take it off her? However, my part in the clothing industry is just the fabrics. If I can influence designers to make clothing easy to take off a woman using my fabrics, I'll have achieved my dream, he teased. I suppose all the clothing you plan to suggest will have that specific requirement? Most definitely. He got up from his seat and walked over to her. He put out his hand and pulled her into his arms. He held her tight, and she knew that he wasn't capable of speech. She understood how he felt. She held him too. Just as suddenly, he released her and asked about lunch. She declined anything exotic due to her recent experience with it. They ended up in a fast food place where he teased her about her choice. She smiled and bit into her burger decadently. They returned to his place, and Devlin wanted to rest. She understood about the jet lag and their trip into the city, but she had energy to burn. While he rested, she thought about all he'd showed her. She realized that their worlds was very different. He talked about Paris and a cloth show that was straight out of a novel. It was glamorous and something that was more suited to Nicole than her. She wondered if Devlin realized that yet. Devlin awoke and found her sitting on the couch. He called out to her, but she didn't acknowledge him. He pulled on her braid. "Hey, where did you go? I've called your name 3 times. I was thinking about all you showed me today. It's frightening how much you do. You give me a lot of credit, Chaz. I own the business, and I only work when I have to. I go in and check that everything is going the way it should. However, what I do is meet with people to sell my products and to select materials from other companies to make my products. Naturally, if there is a shortage of personnel, I can perform any of the duties required. I'm sure if one of your instructors are out, you can teach an aerobic class, couldn't you?" "Of course, but it's not the same. What you do is all glamour, and what I do is ordinary," she said. "Oh, hold on a minute. This is not a contest, Chaz. I showed you what I do because you asked. There is no competition going on, understand? That's not what I meant. An environment like yours is so alien to me, I couldn't function in it." Devlin shut her up with a kiss. "Sweetheart, you don't have to do anything. I just wanted to show you around is all, okay?" "Yes," she answered and gave him a little squeeze. "Well, that's it for now. I hope you are enjoying the story so far. Please comment and share. Don't forget to subscribe and help me grow this channel. Bye for now."